Alright, so now that you know how to set up a MyFitnessPal account and how to throw in some foods in there and change the goals, now we're going to go on ahead and do a couple of extra adjustments. You don't really have to do this, but what I like to do is just make some adjustments. Basically, when it comes to nutrition and meal frequency and diet in general, for fat loss, what really matters is the amount of food that you're eating more so than anything else. Calories are number one, then macronutrients are number two. If you are tracking your macros, you're essentially tracking your calories without even thinking about it. Um, Tracking calories only will decide whether you gain or lose weight, but tracking macronutrients will help to assist in actually building or maintaining lean muscle, having enough fat in your diet for optimal hormone production, and balance, and also having enough carbohydrates for energy. So essentially, macronutrients are what make up total calories. So that's like pretty much what our main focus is in on this diet, in this fat loss challenge, is macronutrients. But also, when it comes to meal frequency, how often you eat is really up to you. Based on the science, you should basically be eating at least 3 times a day, or every 4 to 5 hours would be great. And some people can only eat twice a day, and that's still okay. Some people need to eat more often for certain reasons, and that's fine too. But what will basically change your body composition, give you more lean muscle, less body fat, is going to be the overall amount of food that you eat. So your daily macronutrient intake, which is going to be controlled by yourself based on what I ask you to do. So when it comes to meal frequency, it really makes no difference to you. It's what suits your schedule and your lifestyle. If you have, obviously we can all wake up and have breakfast, so that's one meal. If you get a break in the morning, that's a second meal. If you get a lunch break, that's a third meal. If you finish work in the afternoon or have an afternoon break, that's a fourth meal. And then you might want to have dinner, so that's 5 meals. So normally when I write a nutrition plan for a client, it would generally be 5 meals. If you want to add like a post-workout shake to your day, that would be like six meals. Sometimes myself, due to my schedule, I might have breakfast a little bit later in the day, and then I'll have an afternoon snack, and then I'll have a big meal at nighttime. And that's just because of the schedule, my schedule that I have some days of the week. So what I'm basically saying is meal frequency is not as important as how much you eat per day. So in saying that, when I go to MyFitnessPal, which I am just going to be looking at my screen right now, when I go to food, it's going to show us what we want to put in for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, and for snacks. Now, MyFitnessPal has something called recent foods. So if I was to go to tomorrow's nutrition, and I was to go to breakfast, add food, it's going to show me recent foods that I've had for breakfast, and I can select it and add it to my day, basically. Which is a convenience factor, which is great. However, if I've eaten a specific food, say for breakfast, and I've eaten a different food at lunch and a different food at dinner, but I want to eat what I had for dinner, I want to eat that for breakfast tomorrow. If I have it in my dinner section and I go to breakfast, it's not going to be listed because it's not a recently used meal for dinner or for breakfast. So to combat that, to pass that, what I like to do, actually go to settings, and in settings it's going to show you what we are tracking. And like I mentioned, we want to track some fiber. We don't need to track sodium, so we're going to change sodium to fiber, and we are going to change meal names to meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, meal 4, meal 5, and meal 6. Or instead of meal 6, you could even write supplements, and that's a place where you could put in all your supplements if you choose. Go ahead and choose Save Changes, and that is done. So if you go back to your food, right here, it's now changed to meal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and supplements. and you could add here and put in all the supplements that you eat on a daily basis or that you consume on a daily basis. And every day when you go to the supplement section and click add, they're all going to be there with recent. Now, because meal frequency doesn't really matter, and it's not something that I concern myself with too much, as long as I'm getting 3 servings of protein per day or more, I'm happy. 3 separate servings throughout the day. It doesn't really matter to me. So what I personally like to do is I like to put all of my food in meal 1. So I'll add in here my chicken, my sweet potato, my rice, my almonds, my vegetables, everything, basically everything that I have. And the reason for that is when I go to my next day and I want to add some more food in, it's going to be all listed right here. And I don't have to search for foods that I've eaten on a different part of the day or a different meal. It's all basically going to be there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to log into my personal MyFitnessPal so you guys can see exactly what I mean. So just log out of that. Okay. And you will basically see when it comes to my food, everything is put in meal 1. So that's pretty much everything I've had today in meal 1, including things like my multivitamin and my supplements, my farmer greens, and everything else.